Hello everybody, welcome back to the Collection Corner. It's been a long time, hasn't it? So basically, I'm gonna keep this pretty short, but a lot got in the way of this series especially, so it fell by the wayside for a bit. But it is back. I've been planning it for a long time now. I've still got plenty of ideas to talk about, and I don't really have much else of an intro, but today we're going to be talking about some special, cool, fun take-along items that I just wanted to talk about. Take-along, I feel like, is definitely the least appreciated of the three major US ranges. But I have a lot of cool stuff with take-along. I never really got into it as much as I wanted to when I was younger. But over the past few years, I've just been going through and getting items that I think are cool and that I've wanted. And now I feel like I have a pretty sizable collection of those. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So the very first model I want to talk about is Surprised Thomas. Now this one isn't particularly rare, but I still think he's pretty cool. I really like the face on this one, I can't lie. I feel like they got it pretty accurate. Yeah, so this Thomas was sold as part of the Deluxe Scene sets. And there are quite a lot of these, and I have all the engines, and I'm going to talk about all of them. But Thomas is the first one up here, and he's pretty cool. So for some background, this came in the Thomas and the Special Letter Deluxe Scene set. It came with Thomas, a piece of track, a brick wall breaking open piece, and then a DVD of the episode. But yeah, all I really cared about from that was just Thomas himself, because I think the face is awesome. And yeah, once again, like I said, Thomas is really cool. And yeah, so I don't have the rest of the sets, but like I said, the most important thing to me are the engines included. So let's go ahead and cover the rest of those. And next up here is Surprised Percy. So once again, a standard model just with a different face. And I think the face looks fantastic here once again. Learning Curve did a great job there replicating what you see in the show. And Percy is based off of Percy Takes the Plunge. Now, contradicting what I just said, this is the only track piece out of all of them I have. So I'll show you right here, this piece, it's got a little ramp. So basically, Percy would come through, he'd break through the stop sign, you know, standard stuff, and then go splash right into the pond there. So yeah, most of the pieces do look like this or resemble this in some way. You know, Thomas has the wall, Gordon's got the barrels that he hits, James has the tree, etc. But yeah, basically, this piece is pretty cool. I don't really care for this style of track in particular, which is the main reason I don't really have these. Also, I feel like they're just pretty expensive. So I wanted the engines by themselves mainly, but I was able to get Percy for a good deal. So if he's the only one I have, I'm pretty content with that. But regardless, this is a really fun pack. Now, next up, let's talk about James. And James has to be one of my favorites because look at that face. The clenched eyes look great. This is one of my favorite James faces, and it's also a really obscure one. So I really applaud Learning Curve for actually going through and making this one. They could have done a surprise James or like a scared James, but this one, I feel like it's a lot cooler just because of how niche this face is. And there's definitely no other toy of it, which is honestly probably the coolest part to me. But yeah, James looks really nice. I like this quite a bit. And this one was from the James and the Trouble with Trees pack, and it came with a falling tree and like a little brush from earlier in the episode. But yeah, really nice James here. Probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite. I'm not really sure. It's either him or Henry. And speaking of Henry, here he is. So Henry is fantastic, and I love this angry face. Once again, I do believe this is one of two pieces of merchandise that made Henry's angry face, the other one being Capsule Play Rail a couple years after this one. But yeah, this one is just really cool. So this Henry comes from the Henry and the Elephant pack. So you have a little tunnel facade there, as well as the elephant and the bucket of water. And basically you take the elephant, it was like a rubber squirter piece, and you would spray water on Henry like the elephant did in the episode. And unfortunately, this Henry actually ended up getting discontinued because of parents complaining or something. I don't know. I haven't really looked too much into this, but I've just heard around that parents complained about the water element of this set. So it ended up getting discontinued pretty early on. I believe a couple years earlier than all the other ones, at least everywhere but Australia. So in Australia, he's actually still very common because he was sold for a couple more years. But yeah, regardless of the discontinuation, this Henry doesn't seem to be too rare. I got mine pretty easily. But yeah, once again, I love this Henry. like I said, again, either him or James have to be my favorite ones. They're just really cool. And I love when engines actually have the angry expression, because that feels like it's pretty rare. And rounding out the first original 5, we have Gordon. And Gordon is very surprised. So this is from the Gordon Takes a Tumble set. And once again, the only toy that actually exists of that episode. Though this isn't the only Gordon with a surprised face. There's also the wooden railway one from the Better View for Gordon set. But regardless, the Gordon Takes a Tumble set was a really fun one. I like that he goes down, hits the barrels. That was always a pretty cool play feature to me. But yeah, once again, Gordon, he is very surprised. I really like the face there. Mine's a little bit scuffed from years of play. This one was pretty worn, but it was also the only one on eBay when I got it, so it's all right. Regardless, Gordon looks really fun. I love that surprised face once again. I just don't have a whole lot to say about these variants since there's nothing else to talk about but the face. But like I said, regardless, he's just really, really cool. So about a year or two after the original 5, Learning Curve ended up introducing 2 more, and they were both based off of the newly released Season 8 at the time. So first off, we have the Angry Emily from the Emily's Adventure set. And that basically reenacts the episode where Emily shoved a water tower off the tracks, and she was pretty mad. I don't even remember why. I haven't seen that episode in years. It's pretty garbage. But regardless, we have an Angry Emily here, and she's pretty cool. So she does have quite the forehead, I'll say. But once again, I do think they have recreated the face pretty accurately. I just feel like her eyes and eyebrows should have been a little bit further up. I mean, that is one forehead, like I said. So very funny, I'll say, though a little bit uncanny in my opinion. Emily's probably my least favorite of the Deluxe Scene engines, but that doesn't make her bad by any means. I just think not only because Takealong Emily isn't really great by any means either, but I feel like Learning Curve could have done a little bit more to like pizzazz Emily, maybe just with a better face. Honestly, I think that would have really done it. But anyway, Emily is still pretty cool, and I'm glad to have her. And probably my third favorite is the Diesel from the Thomas to the Rescue pack. So this particular Diesel references the episode where Diesel basically broke down and he started billowing green smoke everywhere, because I guess that's a thing that happens. I don't know. Anyway, Diesel he looks pretty funny here because he's got green paint all over him. He's meant to look sick, and I think they did that pretty well. He's kind of got jaundice eyes going on there. I don't think that was meant to happen. But regardless, he does actually have some green paint sprayed on his face there. It makes him like sick looking. And then there is a little bit of green splatter around like on the top. You can kind of see it it's kind of hard to see it in this particular lighting, but I feel like that's a pretty good angle if you can see it there. It definitely contrasts with the black just enough to like, yeah, you can tell that's green like from that angle. At least I can. But yeah, it is a little bit hard to notice, but it's definitely most prominent on the front there. But still, I think it's cool. I think they could have done a little bit more to like make it look like Diesel's actually being encased in like smoke and fog. But regardless, I still like it. And the main attraction here is the surprised face, which looks great in my opinion. I think they really, really captured this one especially well. Probably one of the best, actually, in my opinion. But yeah, Diesel is really fun. Now, the actual track itself didn't really have a special feature unlike the others. So instead, Learning Curve actually just ended up including a diesel fuel flatbed, which is upside down actually. But yeah, we have this little yellow flatbed here. It is magnetic as well, so the barrels will stay on like that. And they're lime green and lime yellow, like neon yellow, so not really the most fitting in piece of rolling stock, because it's all like black and gray in the episode. So I don't really know why you'd ever make lime green diesel oil barrels, but regardless, here they are. But yeah, I still think it's a cool inclusion, and the fact that this is the only pack that actually came with a piece of rolling stock makes it a bit more special. So yeah, I've seen this is definitely a harder piece to find, but yeah, there's Diesel with the diesel fuel, and yeah, once again, just looks pretty cool. I like this one quite a lot. So outside of those special specific packs, Learning Curve actually did make quite a few more special face variants, and those are the ones that I want to talk about now. So starting off from the Calling All Engines 4-pack, we have the Straining Face Thomas, and this one's really cool. So it's based off of the scene of the movie where Thomas is helping rebuild the suspension bridge after it's collapsed, and he's like pulling the bridge girder back into place. It's a very visually cool scene. I like that one quite a lot, regardless of the movie being pretty subpar. But Thomas himself has a straining face. He's putting in some hard work. He looks cool. And I like, once again, how faithfully Learning Curve have replicated this face onto the Thomas model. And yeah, he just looks great, honestly. There's not much else I can really say about it, but just it's awesome. And this Thomas was actually reused for the Great Discovery, and they covered him in coal dust, and they made like a working hard Thomas variant, which is also cool. I don't have that one because I didn't really think I needed it, especially since I have this one here. But they're basically the same thing, just the other one's got a little bit more detail. But yeah, this came in a 4-pack with Lady and Mavis, who were both pretty pivotal in the movie. At least Mavis was, Lady not so much. But regardless, those 3 also came with the very happy-looking Diesel 10. And yeah, Diesel 10 here looks very different than what we're used to seeing, because, you know, he's also very devious and very, you know, angry and all that. So yeah, there's a pretty big difference here in these faces, and I like Diesel 10 here. I think he's pretty funny. You know, it's very out of character from what was shown previously. But regardless, I think it makes for a fun toy, at least. You know, I like the happy face. He looks pretty funny, honestly. It's almost uncanny because, you know, you don't really see Diesel 10 so happy. He's still got the moving claw and everything. I'm just fidgeting around with it. But yeah, Diesel 10 is very cool. I love this face variant, despite the fact it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, Diesel 10 looks very funny, and I like this one quite a lot as well. And speaking of multi-packs, we are far from done, because next up we have the James Goes Buzz Buzz pack. So, of course, it came with James, who has bees all over him, and including his tender, and also the honeycomb car, I guess. Mine's in pretty bad shape. It got restored, actually. But, yeah, this pack is pretty fun. You know, the bees used to spin around. Keyword being used to, because this thing is like 25 years old now. But yeah, still a fun piece. Although, we're here to talk about James, because he has this face. So, James is very surprised, very distraught looking over his red nose there, because of course, he's just gotten stung. You know, he's probably in a lot of pain. But yeah, James Goes Buzz Buzz toys are always some of my favorites. I love seeing how these different merch ranges like do him and do the bees and the face. And the face is definitely surprising, to say the least. I don't know entirely how I feel about this one. I feel like the mouth is like a little bit too big. And the eyes as well. There's just something about this one that feels wrong to me. It's not bad by any means, obviously. I still think it's cool that they gave him a surprised face. And it's a lot better than them doing a normal one. But, yeah. Anyway, James is really fun here as well. I like him. You know, he's a little bit weird looking, but, you know, that ain't bad. It's all right. Yeah, he's cool. I like him. So next up, we have another face variant here. And this one's very special to me because it was one of my first take-along toys. And you can definitely see with the condition of this one. But we have Coal Dust Percy. And this came with the coal yard set, or like the coaling plant, coaling depot, something. But regardless, came with a couple buildings, a coal truck. But we have Percy here, and he's really cool looking. I love the coal dusted variants. He's really fun. And this is pretty similar to the wooden railway one, except for the fact that he's got a tired face. And I like this tired face a lot. It's definitely one of my favorite Percy faces. It's pretty funny. You know, he's out of breath. He's like, he got his cheeks puffed out and everything. It's cute. I like this one a lot. And like I said, he's got the coal dust. There's a little bit on top of his face there. It's mostly on top of his boiler. And there's also just a tiny bit here on the running board. There's like these little patches. And they're like the little squares, just like the wooden railway one is. So yeah, Percy's cool because, like I said, like with Diesel, not only does he have the cool face, but he's also got the extra detail there that really makes this one special. And like I said, he's one of my favorites. I love him a lot. You know, I'm really happy that I still have this one after all this time, and that it's an okay shape, I guess. It's a little bit sun faded here and there, but you know, it's all right. But yeah, this Percy's awesome. And speaking of engines that have extra detail and a special face, here is the Paint Splattered Thomas pack. So first off, it did come with the Sodor Paintworks tanker with a mysterious green liquid inside that is definitely too fluid to be paint. But regardless, this is a fun item. I like this one a lot. But the main star of the show here is Paint Splattered Thomas himself. And this is also based off of Calling All Engines. So once again, he reuses the surprised face from the Deluxe Scene Thomas, but, you know, I mean, why not, I guess, because, like, you've got the surprised face, he's surprised that he's covered in paint. It makes sense to me. But, yeah, he's got a lot more detail here on the top. I love little paint splatters. I love that they're not, like, I love they're not the same on either side, and they're, like, very unique, I guess is the way to put it. But, yeah, this is cool. I've always loved Paint Splatter Thomas and any toy he gets. I feel like they didn't make enough merchandise of Paint Splatter Thomas here, because they made a take-along They made Trackmaster. They made a couple wooden railway ones and Capsule, but that was about it. So yeah, anyway, just happy to have whatever merch of this guy I can get. And he's definitely one of my favorites as well. Very, very unique. Now I'm going to move on to two really obscure ones that I feel like can fit in the same category, basically. But first up, we have Coal Dusted Toby. So this is a really interesting one because this is actually based off of Hero of the Rails. Sort of, at least. Because this came with the Takealong Steamworks set. And now, with some of the early Hero of the Rails merch, I've talked about this before in the previous Collection Corner video with the talking flip face engines. But I feel like Toby might have played a larger role in the movie, or at least had a scene in the Steamworks maybe where he gets covered in coal dust or something. I don't know, but he's here, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't really know where this would have come from, if it was just a thing they threw in because why not. I don't know if this actually had anything to do with an original draft of the movie or not, because the movie went through a lot of rewriting and like stuff like that. So maybe this is based off of an early script or something. I'm not entirely sure, and I don't think we ever will know for sure. But yeah, this is one of the last take-along items released, I'm pretty sure. At least the last variant of Toby, definitely. But yeah, he's got the coal dust on him. It's even on his face too, so that's pretty funny. But it's all over the side there. It's easier to see on the side plates and the roof than it is the side there with the brown, but you can see it. It's even on the back too, and the front. So yeah, they really caked this guy in coal dust. I mean, it is everywhere. So I like the attention to detail, though. It's even down here on the cow catchers and the buffer beam. Like, it's everywhere. So I love that level of detail, and I wish that other variants like this sort of had that. But yeah, moving on from Toby, though, there is another Dusty engine that I want to take a look at, and this one is pretty infamous. So we have Dusty Duncan. Now, I love Dusty Duncan. And the main reason for that is because this thing was a mystery for years. Now, basically, being on Thomas Twitter around 2021, 2022-ish, whenever this thing was like first kind of got on everybody's radar, it was really crazy because, you know, nobody knew where this Duncan came from for the longest time. And I remember people were searching for ages and ages, and whenever one popped up online, people were like itching to get it. And eventually, pictures popped up, and people found out that this came in a deluxe release of the Morgan's Mine set. So that makes it pretty rare, in my opinion, or at least not super rare, but definitely harder to find. And I remember pretty shortly after his origin was revealed, I ended up finding one on eBay myself for a pretty good price, and I decided to grab him. And I think this is awesome. You know, it's definitely a piece of Thomas merchandise history. You know, people were really clamoring to find out where this came from, and I was there. I was like part of the search. I remember like talking to people, like trying to figure out where this thing came from, and eventually, whenever it was found, we were all super happy because it was really cool just to be there. That was a great moment. But yeah, Duncan is awesome. I like him a lot. He's really cool, and I love the actual dust detail on him too. I haven't mentioned that, but yeah, it looks great. And like I said with Toby, it is pretty much everywhere. It's on the running board. It's even on the cylinders. It's on his chassis, on his wheels, on his smoke box, his boiler, his tanks, literally everything. So yeah, Dusty Duncan is definitely a favorite, not only for his history alone, but also because the model itself just looks really cool. I have two more variants now that have special faces, and the first one here is Winter Wonderland Thomas. Now this came in a 3-pack with a snow globe tanker that I unfortunately do not have, but we do have the wreath caboose here. This is really cool. I don't know if it came in this specific pack, but it came in one of the Christmas packs, so I'm including it here now. But yeah, I love the little Christmas caboose. It's very cute, and that's the only take-along caboose I have actually. So yeah. But then here with the Winter Wonderland Thomas, I love the attention to detail on the snowplow there. Now this is specifically based off of the season 6 episode, It's Only Snow. And you can tell because that was the only episode where Thomas had a gray snowplow instead of a blue one. And right here, it's even got that little patched area. You know, this is an old one that he's wearing for some reason. But yeah, Thomas here, he's got snow on just the top of him for some reason, and it comes down onto the front of his buffer beam and running board and onto the snowplow. I don't know why it isn't on the sides because that looks a little bit goofy in my opinion. There is some other merchandise of Thomas that does this with like the snow thing. But yeah, I feel like it should be at least a little bit on the sides, though it makes sense to be on the top, obviously. But yeah, anyway, Thomas has this smiling face, which is definitely different from the normal one. You know, the normal one's got this wide grin with teeth showing, and then this one's got like more of a cheeky sort of smile. I don't know. It almost reminds me of the Wooden Railway 60th anniversary Thomas. It's got a very similar face to that. And I don't know if it's based off of a specific Thomas face. I can't really think of one that comes to mind. But either way, it looks cool. And, you know, I'm not going to complain about having a different Thomas face on a toy like this. So now for the very final special face variant that I have here, it is Jet Engine Thomas, and it comes with the entire Jet Engine pack. So first off, you have the Jet Fuel Tanker. This was not in the episode. Learning Curve just made it up on the fly. But you know what? It's awesome. Love the red tanker. Love the logo too. It's just really cool. And also, of course, we have the jet engine itself. I don't know why it's blue. That's a little bit weird, you know, not like the episode. But, you know, it's not bad by any means. And, you know, mine sort of works. It's a little bit old, but you can see it lights up a little bit there. And you can hear the sound just barely. You know, I feel like it's meant to make more sounds and light up for longer than 1 second. But regardless, I have it, and it kind of works, so that's good enough for me. And yeah, there's those two pieces of rolling stock. And for some reason, the pack came with this Thomas. And I have no idea why they decided to make a third smiling Thomas face. So there's that. And once again, for comparison, he's got a much wider grin, and the eyes are looking down slightly than the normal version. So I have no idea why the Thomas looks like this, but honestly, like I said, I'm not complaining. It's just a really cool novelty, I guess. It almost reminds me of the Season 6 pack scale Thomas. You know, that had a really weird looking creepy face. And this one's not as bad, though the wide grin and the placement of the eyebrows kind of reminds me of that. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I don't know if that's what it's meant to be, but it exists. So, you know what? I'll take it. It's a really fun one. All right, now I've got a few more engines that I feel like don't really fit into a specific category, but they're here, and I have them, and I want to talk about them anyway. So starting off here with the original James model. So for those who don't know, for the first, like, I think 2 or 3 years of Take-Along, James had gray wheels. And this is because he was specifically based off of the 2002 era promo art, I guess, of the characters. And they gave James gray wheels, so for some reason, just so much merchandise of James had gray wheels, including the original Take-Along one. And it was not changed over until I believe 2004, maybe, somewhere around that era, where they eventually updated it. And I'm glad they updated it. Now, I am not a gray wheeled James hater, but I also don't love it. It definitely looks kind of weird to me, not gonna lie, but it exists, and I ended up getting one a couple years ago. So he's cool, and like I said, it's just nice to have for collection's sake, I guess. Next up is another very late Take-Along release. I believe this also came out in 2009, and this is the Holiday Express Thomas. Now, the reason it's called that is because it came with the Holiday Express DVD. And, you know, that was a pretty garbage DVD with, like, season 11 episodes on it or something. But Thomas is cool. So I remember seeing somewhere that this printing for Thomas specifically is exclusive to that DVD pack. And, yeah, so, you know, you got the little snowflakes, I guess, banner thing draped around his side tanks and cab there. And then he's got the little Christmas hat on. Very cute. You know, I love it. This is the only Christmas hat Thomas I have. They made quite a few different versions. I think there's 3 total with different printing on the sides. But yeah, this is, I believe it's the hardest to find of the 3. It's not super rare or anything, but I feel like it's notable just because it was exclusive to a DVD pack of all things. And that's really neat, so I'm glad to have this. I didn't even know that was a thing. I found this at a thrift store like a decade ago. And then just pretty recently here, someone told me that this is where that's from. And I'm like, oh, I have that. That's cool. So yeah, I wanted to talk about it. So next up, Take-Along made a lot of metallic characters. And you know me, I feel like I've said this a lot, but I love metallic characters, items, pretty much anything that is metallic, that is Thomas. I will want it, regardless if it's bad or not. But yeah, this isn't bad by any means, but it's metallic Diesel, and he's really fun. So Diesel is the only metallic engine that I have, unfortunately. I would like to get a lot more, but they are very expensive, especially in the United States. But they made so many characters, dude. They made like 20, somewhere around there, metallic characters. They made like Neville and Molly and Rosie. They made Duck and Oliver. They made Ari and Bert. And, you know, I just don't have them. So I'd like to, one day, maybe. But for now, I just have Diesel. And and I like Diesel, and I'm content with Diesel. So yeah, he's pretty cool. He's almost like a gunmetal, like silvery kind of, like, I don't know how else to describe. He's very shiny though. Look at that. That's really nice. You can see my studio light there in the background. But yeah, anyway, Diesel's cool. I like him a lot. The red running board's a little bit distracting, but that's a thing on the regular model too, so it's whatever. But yeah, the wheels are a little bit scuffed up. That's to be expected since they're like running on track. This is the previous owner's doing though. I got him a couple years ago now. But yeah, Diesel's really nice, and I like him a lot. And I really, really, really do want more metallic items. And speaking of metallic items, I only halfway lied, because Diesel isn't my only metallic item, because I have this Thomas. Now you're probably wondering what this Thomas is, and it's a normal Thomas, but it was packaged with the metallic Day Out with Thomas tanker. So this is really interesting. This was specifically 2007, as you can see right there on the ticket. But yeah, in 2007, they made a take-along Day Out with Thomas item. Now, if you're familiar with these, then you're gonna know that like that's kind of Wooden Railway's thing. Like Wooden Railway made a Day Out with Thomas item every single year since 2006. They're still going. It's nearly 20 years now, which is crazy. But yeah, anyway, this is the only time Take Along did that, and I don't know why they decided to do it in specifically 2007 and why never again. But we have a silver metallic tanker here with like the blue outlining, I guess, and then the ticket there on the side. So I don't know what prompted them to make this other than like, hey, Day Out with Thomas is special, let's do something for it. But yeah, it exists, and this is how the pack was sold, just with a regular Thomas with the tanker there. So I literally did not know this tanker existed until I found one on eBay about 3 or 4 years ago now. Instantly grabbed it because I'd never seen it, it was cheap. So yeah, now I have this, and it's awesome. I don't have something like the tar tanker or the fuel tanker, but I do have the metallic 2007 Day Out with Thomas tanker. Pretty quickly, I've got one final pack to talk about, and it's just because this is something I didn't know existed, and I got it pretty recently. So here is Sodor Carnival Toby. This is awesome. I love little streamers on the side of his side plates there, and it just says Sodor Carnival. So this ended up coming in a 4-pack that I also did not know existed, but I actually did have the monkey car here. So there's that. Pretty cool. It's a longer truck. It's got a lot of nice detail on it. I like the streamers. It's a great inclusion. Sodor Carnival logo there. I like the colors. The blue and orange look nice together. So there's those two. And then I did some more digging. And it also came with the lion car, except this lion car is one from a different pack. Except the only difference is, once again, the streamers were on the side of that right there. And then instead of blue, it was green. And then, it still makes the sound. I like that. This is a fun piece. But yeah, there was that. And then it also came with the popcorn tanker, which is a crazy item that I do not have. But regardless, I just wanted to talk about this Toby because it is a pretty recent find of mine at a train show. And I love him. He's really cute. So he's just nice, and I wanted to talk about him. So here he is. And now there is some rolling stock that I want to talk about pretty quickly. So first off, we have the magical cargo car things, I guess. I'm not entirely sure what they're called, but this is the first one here. And this is the Brendam shipping car. Mine's in pretty rough shape, as you can see, but it still works. So we open the door there, and we have some Sodor Works parts. So you can see a little whistle there, and then a couple of wheels. It's cool. And then you close the door, and now it's a Mr. Jolly's chocolate barrel. Close the door again, now it's frozen fish. So I love this gimmick. It's really cool. It's something that's not overly flashy, but it's also really like, it's a great play feature. I love this. So, it actually really kind of adds to the vans. You can put pretty much anything in. And, close the door, you don't know what's inside, and then, or you can open it and actually appreciate the detail inside of there. And it's great. And Learning Curve kept this gimmick going for a while, because that's not the only one. Because pretty later on, we got the Sodor Museum car, and this was great. And this came with Rheneas. So, imagine Rheneas pulling this. And then there was a flatbed as well with a dinosaur skeleton on it. This was based off of that 1 season 10 episode. But I only have this and Rheneas, unfortunately. Though I guess those are the two most desirable things in the pack. So anyway, let's go ahead and open this one. It is pretty stuck there. But first off, we got some mining gear in there. We'll close it and open it again if I can. Like I said, it's very, very, very tight. But we got some signs, Sodor Museum, excavation sign. It's pretty cool. And last time there, we got some dirt with some fossils in it. That's cool. I really like this gimmick. It's great. However, there is still one more that I have, and it is the Sodor postal delivery one. And I actually have two of these. And these are the closest thing Take-Along really had to mail vans, I guess. So we'll open that up. We got some mail inside, mail sacks. Then we got parcels. And I love the details that say to Thomas and Percy there. And then one more time, this time we got a toy bag. It's awesome. Love that. So yeah, there's those. However, they were not the only special type of vans they released. And I have saved these two for last because honestly, they're some of my favorites. And I think these are some of the coolest products that Take-Along ever released. So we have the movie cars. Yeah, so these are vans, once again. First of all, this is the Faulty Whistles one. I love the blue color on this. It's really, really nice. But regardless, let's have a look inside now. And there we go. You can see the Faulty Whistles title card. And every time you shut and open the van, a different projector slide is going to play. So now, if we look there, you can see Peter Sam on the bridge. Just like in the episode, because these are just directly stills from the episode. This is a much clearer one now. Here's Duncan with the organ flatbed. Very cool. And of course, if you close this, you can't see anything inside. And that is because, you need to have the light coming in this little area here. I can't explain how it works, but it's really awesome. And we'll just keep looking. You see Peter Sam again. And I think, yeah, there's Duncan and Peter Sam together. The bridge again. There's Duncan with Elizabeth. There's Duncan again. Headmaster Hastings, my goat. Yeah, so just more shots of Duncan, in the episode. There's the headmaster again. There's a lot of slides in these, by the way. There's Rusty. There's Peter Sam again. I think we're about to the end of the episode. And I think that's the ending shot. And then there is the title card again. However, they ended up making a few of these. I know there's Faulty Whistles, and we also have Jack Jumps In. And they also made, I believe, Percy and the Carnival, the season 10 one. I don't know if they made any others, so those are the three off the top of my head I know that I can name. But anyway, looking in the Jack Jumps In one, very cool. You can see the title card once again. This one is also pretty sticky, so I'm going to try my best here and actually open that. But you can see there's Miss Jenny. I'm not going to go through every one of these because it takes a while. But you can look in there, there's Jack. And then, again, this one also sticks like a lot, so, And then there's Thomas and Jack. You get the idea. These are awesome, and I don't really think they're rare either, so if you can end up finding these and pick them up, I definitely recommend it. So yeah, these are really cool. Love the projector lenses on the front there. These are just some of the most unique and innovative cars or trucks that really exist in any Thomas toy range. And honestly, I think that speaks a lot for Take-Along itself, because, the idea of these foldable play sets that come up together and you can take them where you want to go, it's awesome. And I feel like Take-Along is definitely pretty underappreciated. It is far from my favorite range, but honestly, like we've just seen with all of the items here today, Take-Along had some really, really cool stuff. They cooked, I'll say. That's a pretty good term for it. So regardless, that's pretty much it for the Take-Along stuff that I wanted to cover today. That is pretty much all of the really cool stuff that I own in the range that I wanted to talk about. And tell me if there's anything I missed or anything that you particularly like. Tell me your favorite item that we looked at today in the comments below. So yeah, keep the discussion going. Let me know what you guys thought. And hopefully I hope that you guys are glad that the collection corner is back. Hope you guys like the backdrop as well. I feel like this looks pretty cool. But yeah, so that is pretty much it for Take-Along episode 3. That's it. Yeah, hopefully, a lot more is coming, a lot more planned. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I never really know how to end these properly, but yeah, that's about it. So this has been Max Monty 1516, once again, signing out.